He's spinning it left. Burgess! Burgess! Tom Burgess! How long is that list of try scorers now? Burgess over. England up to 58. This is amazing. We're running out of words to describe how good this English performance is.
Short ball. Here they come. Burgess. Tom Burgess steps the fullback and will race away and score the try.
Manimo is always a constant on the left, and now, well, Saliba Havili
right inside to the line. Here goes Tom Burgess looking to dump that ball back, and he's
surprise open this Kiwi defence. They're doing it the muscular way. They're doing it through Tom Burgess.
Tom, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you on. And I must admit, when I saw the email come through of you joining, I did think it was a joke at first. There's been a lot of speculation around your own personal future and things like that. But first off, give us your thoughts on the move and sort of what you're thinking right now.
Yeah, I suppose I feel really good actually about getting it all sorted. And obviously, I've been looking at potentially coming back to the Super League in the last couple of years, and obviously I re-signed a 1-year deal last year with South, but obviously I'm in the same position again now, and yeah, I was just really fortunate to be able to get in touch with Huddersfield, and we came to an agreement, and I think one thing I'm really excited about is coming back to Huddersfield, and very close to where I grew up, where I went to school, and bringing my young family back there, and it's going to be really cool to be able to sort of come back to where it all began, and yeah, I mean, come to a great club as in Huddersfield.
Like you say, it's been 13 years since you last played Super League rugby, and in that time you've won a grand final, a Club World Challenge with the Bunnies. You've become a set name within that squad and a recognisable name back in the UK. What is it going to be like for you to come, knowing that you're coming back home next year to play that Super League rugby again?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's been, it's my 12th season out at South. It is a lot of what I've known for so long. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be some adjusting. I think I've probably acclimatized to the weather over here a little bit now, but no, I'm just really excited. Like every year, I've sort of been lucky enough to represent England and come back in those years, quite frequently, and I've always enjoyed, being back in front of an English crowd, being back around Yorkshire folk, that sort of thing. So obviously we had the test series against Tonga just recently. We had a game at Kirkley Stadium, and I was it was very just fond memories, and sort of all sort of reasons leading to why.
Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation over the last few months with your own future because of Sam coming over to Warrington. So what's that sort of been like from like that in your family dynamic, and have you had words with him? And so how's this all come about that you've ended up at the Huddersfield Giants?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a few different dynamics. Obviously, Sam's obviously head coach now for a Super League club, which makes it interesting. And so yeah, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have talks with Sam. And we definitely explored some options, but ended up working out that Huddersfield was the best fit for me and my family, and yeah, I think Sam was just happy for me as a brother. He had to take his head coach cap off for a second, and I think he sort of encouraged me to take the deal as well, and so yeah, I think we've always been really we've always been each other's biggest fans as brothers throughout our career, and it's no different now. And obviously when we play Warrington, it'll make it that extra bit spicy, I think, now, which I think Warrington and Huddersfield have always had a good rivalry anyway, so it should be good. Yeah, coming up, we'll definitely be looking for those fixtures in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, playing against your own brother as a coach and a player is a different one to usual. But yeah, usually I find that players, before they make moves like this, and obviously you're coming back home, so it's not quite the same as an Australian player coming over to the UK for the first time, but usually you find that players will speak to other players on this sort of thing, players who have been a part of the club. Have you spoken to anyone who's been a part of the Giants or former Giants before making this decision?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I've played with Chris Hill for quite a couple of years now, and spoke to Hilly, and he had good things to say, and everyone I've spoke to has been really, really sort of complimentary about the vibe at Huddersfield and the setup and the culture. So even got looking at the team manager with England last year, worked with Andy Kelly. He he was a team manager at England and he's a team manager at Huddersfield. So there was definitely a few jigsaw pieces coming together. Obviously, I've worked with Ian Watson before, with the Lions as well. So I think all these things came together, and yeah, they had a few ex-South players there last year, and Nathan Peets and Chris McQueen, and definitely spoke to Peetsy about his time at Huddersfield, and had great things to say. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into making a decision, but yeah, at the end of the day, I just sort of had to speak with my family and make sure it was the right move for us. But we're really excited to be coming back to where I'm from. My girls, my little daughters are pretty pumped too. I think they're excited to go to school in England and that sort of thing. And even looking at my old primary school could be an option. But just little things like that is a cool sort of part of the story for me and our chat, a chapter in our story in our lives. So yeah, I'm just really excited actually.
Yeah, and you've mentioned a couple there, the former players from last season. Chris McQueen, when he came over, the impact that he had with his experience, knowledge, and skill, a former Raptors player like yourself, is that the sort of impact that you want to have when you come over here for your stint at the Giants? Because he became a fan's favourite pretty much instantly with sort of the way that he put himself about on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no mistake in what I want to do over in England. I want to come over and I want to win silverware. It's not. I'm not coming over to sort of make up numbers and finish my career. I never got there with Bradford. We had a good side back in those early days, but we never sort of pushed through into the playoffs and made a good go for it. So that's one thing that's one thing I look for in a club. I want to get there. I want to get to those finals and bring some silverware back to where it should be, really birthplace of rugby league, mate. So
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had the opportunity to speak to Ian Watson then yet?
yeah, of course, yeah. That's the first thing I sort of did was call and speak with Ian and make sure we were both on the same page and check each other's temperatures. And yeah, that was definitely one thing that I like to do before I make any decisions.
What was it that he had to say about what your role would be when you come over?
Oh well, obviously, my role first and foremost is on the field. Leading the boys, getting us forward, getting us going forward. But I'd like to think I can offer, my experience as well throughout my career in the NRL. I've picked up a lot of good things from a lot of good coaches, great players along the way. So hopefully I can bring that experience with me and a mindset too of wanting to win, not just like I said making up the numbers, but actually every game we're out there we want to win. We want to get those 2 points, which is going to help us get into the playoffs, finals, and ultimately get to Wembley and get to Old Trafford. That's what it's all about.
And I don't know whether I'd assume you've kept up with your Super League rugby while you've been over in Australia, and you keep an eye on the sort of teams back home. And so, knowing what you know about the club and where it's been over the last few years, you've mentioned what your ultimate goal is in mind, and Watto has always spoken about making sort of a dynasty and a legacy with certain teams. Do you feel like there's a potential to really sort of cement your place in that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential out at the Giants. Obviously, we've been close in the last decade. We've been in a final, we've been lead leaguers, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think now we just got to really I suppose we got to ask the fans to jump on board with us too. We want to get the fans back in and through the gates, get it pumping again down at Kirkley Stadium. there's been a couple of name changes since I've moved to Australia, but I'm on board with the new one. And yeah, so like I'd love to just reignite all the fans around that area. It's a big rugby league area, lots of juniors around there. So I'm really looking forward to trying to get into the community as well, get into the schools, get rugby league back on the radar again, for people around Huddersfield.
Nice one. And finally, what sort of message do you have then for the Huddersfield Giants fans and Super League fans in general of what they can expect from you on your arrival in 2025?
You can expect me just to be really keen to get stuck in. Train hard. Have a good laugh with the boys. Bring that energy and just be around the place, be around the community. Like I said, I've been away for a while now, but I'm really looking forward to bringing my young family back to England and showing them what it's all about. And I think obviously I've got a job to do this year with South. I'm really committed to South this year, in my last season, and obviously I've been here for a long time. So I'm really committed to that. But then obviously when I arrive in England, I'm going to be all in.